Hey, good morning, everybody. Jeff Morrell here with Aaron Kinn. I've known Aaron for a long, long time. Aaron sold over 3,000 homes. Is that right, Aaron?
That's correct. Yeah.
That's crazy. So anyway, we're going to have a good talk. Okay, stick with us. There you go.
Sweet video.
There's that one picture in there. I'm standing up there because I was doing a presentation, for a big group, and I look at that. I've lost 50 pounds since. I'm like, look at that fat face.
That's awesome.
Anyway, how you doing, man?
Good. And yourself?
Good. You just got back from Hawaii.
2 weeks. It's hard to get back. It's hard to adjust,
I hear you. You have a good time?
Yeah, it was awesome. Yeah,
was it just you and Amanda that went to Hawaii? The kids go? Just you, the two of you?
Just the two of us, and we left the day before all the craziness of rains started. So we had perfect timing. So
there you go. So Aaron's down there in Dallas. Well, anyway, Aaron and I go way back. I've known Aaron now for coming up on 19, 20 years. Met Aaron through Craig Proctor's program. I went to a conference about 6 months after I got my license and jumped into his coaching program, and Aaron was in there as well. Started out at the same time. Tell though your story. Talk about that. I mean, because I know you were a school teacher before you got into real estate. Tell some of that.
Yeah, so I was a high school art teacher and a baseball and basketball coach. So perfect training for real estate. I bought my first house, and literally within 4 hours from the time I walked in the front door, yes, I was a walk-in. They don't exist anymore, but I was a walk-in. Bought my house. And I was like, she just made more in 4 hours than I'll make in an entire month. So started researching how to get real estate. And back then it was all they send you books, correspondence, and you fax in. That's how old I am. And started and really didn't know what I was doing. Got into Craig Proctor coaching at the beginning of 03, June of 03, actually. And then, business really started taking off then because I learned marketing. Learned presentations, how to do presentations. I know before I went to Craig's event, I had 13 listing appointments from a brand new agent till that time, and I got 0 of them. So I was primarily focused on buyers because I didn't know what I was doing, and my brokerage wasn't real at that time, was real small, and I don't know that anybody there really knew what they were doing as far as wanting to train other agents. There wasn't a whole lot of sharing and stuff going on because everybody looked at each other as competitors. So fast forward, went to KW, was there from 03 to 2009. And then from there, I was my own broker owner for 9 years and joined eXp in April of 2018.
Okay. Let's talk about some of this. So go back to like the coaching. So 13 listing presentations and you didn't get any of them. 0. Yep. Okay. 0 for 13.
0 for 13.
How important would you say? Because there's all different agents that are going to be watching this. Brand new agents been around for 10 years, broker owners, you name it. But what would you say? Like, how important is coaching?
Coaching's everything. I mean, I think it's in whatever you're doing in life, it's important. I came from education background where I was a coach and big time, sports nut, and all the professional athletes have coaches outside of their normal coach. Tiger Woods had swing coaches, and Michael Jordan had coaches outside of his basketball coach. So coaching I always knew was important. It was just finding the right one. And so I try to be that for the agents that, we have on our team that come in with us. Is I try to be that coach because I've, like you said, done 3,000 transactions. I've taken the beatings, but also had the successes too. So I know what to watch out for, or where not to fail, where not to spend your money, and where to market.
For sure. Because there's lots of ways to spend money in this business.
Everybody's got a shiny nickel that'll sell you just 2 more homes.
Yeah, exactly. If I just do 1 this year, it'll cover the cost of it.
Right. How many times have you heard that?
Yeah. Have you done some dumb stuff that you were?
Oh gosh, yes, a million dumb things.
We all.
One, I think the company's not around anymore because so I can say it as like Radio Talking House. That was the worst. But
I just, I think I told you, because I had about 20 of those Talking House boxes in my basement for the last 10 years. I finally took them to Best Buy to recycle them. I was like, yep, exactly. For those of you guys who don't know, a lot of you guys are new. So like Talking House, you set up this box in the house and you could record this, like what, like a 2-minute sort of recording. And there was a sign out front with a radio station. People drive by, turn on the radio. And it's a way to advertise and stuff, whatever.
People use it for Christmas lights now and like doing I've seen those,
Exactly. So anyway, so real quick, let me say this. What would you say to the person? Because coaching can be very expensive, I didn't tell my wife for 6 months. I put, 14 grand on that credit card. I'm like, she is going to kill me. But it paid off so many times over. I was part of Craig's program for 9 years. I know you were part of it longer. You actually became one of his coaches.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. I did coach for
what would you say? Like, because again, for some of these people that are new and, it can be expensive getting it going. Like, any suggestions for somebody like that? Like, how do I get coaching? I just can't afford coaching right now.
If you can't, YouTube's one of the best coaches out there right now. You can learn anything on YouTube pretty much for free. If you want the most advanced stuff and maybe inside tricks and things like that, people are going to start charging you for those things. But general overall coaching and knowledge, YouTube is awesome. Or find somebody that has been successful that will be your mentor and has some, some reasons to do so, to help you grow so they grow, So I would say seeking somebody out like that, where it's a beneficial relationship, after you've done your initial stuff on YouTube, if you don't have that person already in your life.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's so many resources now. I just think back to when you and I got into it, way back then. The YouTube wasn't, did it even exist? It didn't even
I don't think it was even that. Yeah, my MLS was DOS, so I doubt MLS.
Yeah, I know it did. But you're right. There's so much of that out there right now. You could find some really good, you could become an expert in almost anything right now if you just focus in on it. Read 2 or 3 books. Some of these books back here behind me, they're real estate stuff, whatever I've had over these. You can buy, find a good, somebody you like that and lock into them, read the books, become a student of what you're trying to do, become a student of this industry as a realtor. Obviously you can just, to always be going to that next level, but there's so much out there. But, then you get that individual coaching. When you can afford to do that, I would say, man, if you can get somebody like that.
For sure. Yeah. And then I would say track your activity, not the end result. I think that's where people get lost in this business, is they're always tracking, how many sales did I have or how many did I close? They don't track the activity that led to those sales. So, the leading indicators instead of the lag indicators. A lag indicator is closing a house. Leading indicators, how many phone calls are you making? How many open houses, showings? What are you doing to get business? Those are the things you track, because the better you get at those things, the more closings are going to happen automatically.
Right, for sure. That accountability. I remember the weekly accountability, having those weekly calls, mine was every Friday, I believe it was. And, them working with me on some of the ads, but also just that accountability. How many calls you make this week? How many appointments did you have this week? All that kind of stuff. And just tracking that stuff would lead to the closings, and it got to a point, that it just worked by doing that. I think I did like 32 deals my first year, which, I think I did like 6, prior to getting a coach.
That's incredible.
26 once I had a coach, the next 6 months. It was just, I was so busy. And that went up to about 50, a little 50 something my second year, did 72 my third year. I remember, by myself with no assistant. And
I'm on about the same pattern as you.
It's just ugly, that last year. That's when my wife got her license and started getting some help, I'm like, oh my God, it's killing me. So what, you've been through a lot of different markets. You've been doing this for a long time. What would you say? The good agents adjust. What kind of adjustments have you had to make, say, in the last, year, 2 years? It's been crazy all across the country. It's such a seller's market,
Yeah. In the last year or two, the biggest thing is getting back in with buyers more so than listings. The listing opportunities are just so low that if your business was built, 80 to 100% on listings, you probably were struggling a little bit versus other years. Whereas if I always look at having pillars in my business that you can turn on, like buyers, sellers, REO, for instance, like market changes, you have to have those things ready. So when those things come up, you can turn on the faucet. But we focus more on buyers, how to get buyers to win offers, what things are we doing to put our buyers in the best position to have success. Obviously, we still do listings, but when there's 1.1 months of inventory on the market, nobody has a lot of listings, because you get one and it sells. So your leverage opportunity isn't as strong as it used to be when homes stayed on the market, 3-4 months or 6 months. You had a long time to build business off of business. Right now, you don't have that much time to do that.
Right. Share one of the things, because I think this is, and you shared this in a training we did for our team, here recently. When you have a buyer and they buy the house, you have an agreement with them. Tell everybody what you do as far as like being able to put that sign in the yard.
Part of our buyer representation agreement, which they sign the first time we meet them, before we show them any homes. Part of that agreement, it states right in there that we will be able to put a sold sign in your yard for 2 weeks after closing. So why we do that is basically the seller, the listing agent sells the home. Most of the times, I'd say 80% of the time, they never put a sold rider on that house. So their sign goes out of the yard. Our sign goes in the yard and has a sold sign on it. So who does it look like sold the house? Me. It's a great leverage opportunity. I did sell the house. I brought the buyer. So it's not a lie. It's not underhanded. Sure. My buyer bought the house. I sold the house. So I can market that. I just get it up front in writing an agreement for that. So we can do that marketing. That just gives us a little more time to leverage marketing right there in the front yard. I think our sign guys charge us $30 or $40 to put it in. That's pretty good use of that money.
That's awesome. It's such a great idea when you said that in that training. That I'm like, that's so good. Get some more leverage out of that. Yeah, because it does look like all of a sudden, man, they fired that guy. They brought in Aaron, and he sold in a day. Like, wow.
Right.
But anyway, that's awesome. So 2009, you were with Keller Williams from when to when?
03 to 09.
Okay, great company. I was
great
there
company.
for 5 years. It's awesome. Loved everything about it. When I was there. The only reason I left, I just wasn't using anything. I just had all my own systems, tools, websites, everything through Craig Proctor's program, and I'm just like, it was just a lot of money to have my license there when I'm not using any of their tools that they offer. They have great stuff. Obviously, they're a great company, doing great things. How was it when you were there? What caused you to leave? Like 2009, you left. What was it that made you want to start your own company?
Yeah, so we were in the height of the downturn, 2000, realistically, May of 2007 when it's all started, but everybody says 08.
Right.
It's when the subprime market basically collapsed and there was no more subprime loans. And that a lot of first-time buyers, that's what they were utilizing to get loans. So through networking and people I knew like you and other people across the country, they were telling me, hey, you got to get in with banks. The market's going to crash. You got to get in with banks. And they were showing me how to do it, telling me how to do it. Where do I go? Who do I talk to? So I got in with a lot of REO accounts and bank managers. At first, it was just a trickle. But then I started getting in where they were wanting, you had to be the broker owner to get, a Freddie Mac or Fannie Mae or what have you, HUD. So I knew at that point, this is what we're in right now. It was, 08 going into 09. It didn't look like we're coming out of it for quite some time, at least 3-4 years. So I was like, I'll just go. No animosity towards Keller Williams. I'll get my own brokerage license and I'll stack more accounts so I can get more business. And it paid off. I mean, in 2010, we got the HUD account, and December of 2010, we got 118 listing assignments. So wow. Pretty crazy month. But, it was one of those things I never left any company with animosity or burned any bridges. I still have a lot of friends that are still at that Keller Williams office. Mm-hmm. But for me and my business, I had to leave to push that business forward. And again, if I had just stayed with what was working, buyers and sellers, I don't know that I would still be here in real estate today because we had a pretty healthy staff and expense budget and things like that. And if I had kept that up, that would have plummeted.
Yeah, definittive. And were you top 50 in the world? Like
when I was with KW, I was, I think there were several months I moved up the chain, but I think I ended my best year I was like 49 or 47 with them. Yeah. That was 08, I believe, or 07.
It's amazing. And a lot of agents over there. So to be in the top, the top couple thousand would be huge, So
yeah, I mean, it's a great company, but it's like every other company, 20% do the 80%, just like the Pareto principle in life.
Yeah, for sure. So you had your own brokerage for how many years?
9 years.
9 years.
So from 09 to 18.
Okay. What was the biggest that brokerage ever got? Because I know you
12 agents.
12 agents.
I treated it more like a team.
Yeah. Okay.
I had a couple independent people, but most of it was just team. I allowed them to do their own things, but we operated just like I did when I was at Keller Williams or, any other time that I had a team. My assistant was my assistant, and they helped, inside sales agent, things like that. And then we had 12 agents. That was the biggest it ever got. When I came over to eXp, I think I was down to 7 or 8 at that point.
Okay. How about, like, because agents, once they're in the business for a while, you're growing your business. Sometimes they think, they want to start a team. I started a team, had a team for a while. Or they want to go, to go to the next level. It might be starting a team, it might be owning your own brokerage. It might be, buying a franchise. I mean, there's all different ways to kind of go to that next level in the business for those that want to. I meet with people all the time, and 5 years from now, where do you want to be? And they either want to be working their way out of the business because they've been in for a long time or whatever, or it's about more and more and more, whatever, which is fine. We all want to grow.
Right.
And what were some of the advantages that you had in terms of starting your own company? In addition to getting obviously more listings through, being your own broker with all the stuff of 08, the REOs and all that. What are some of the other advantages that you found in terms of having your own brokerage?
Yeah. So, I mean, that ended 13, 14, there hasn't been very much REO since then, and none since COVID's hit. Yeah. So that pretty much ended. And the advantages for me is it offered me leverage to offer programs that maybe a corporate broker didn't like, a guaranteed sale program or something similar. I know there was a couple things I did at Keller Williams where I got brought in and they're like, oh, you can't do that because it's creating unfair advantage for you versus our other agents that are going on the same appointment. I'm like, I'm winning the deal. What does it matter? But they didn't like it. So I then was able to reinstitute those that helped the business grow really well. So, so I think those were the biggest things. Were just leverage on advertising and marketing. Yeah, obviously we do everything legal and, things like that, but sometimes the big corporations don't allow you to do some of the things that we're wanting to do. I would say the biggest downfall of that was backside risk, things like, insurance and having to have a physical location and, having to have a person that manned that physical location up front. So there's a lot of expense that went into it. And I think back then, 07, 08, 09, I always wanted to be number one, be the number one agent, be the top,
Yeah.
And I kind of had blinders on because at the expense of being the number one agent, I wasn't looking at profit, right? So yeah, we're doing a lot of deals, but what was your profit at the end of the day? So my goal now and everything I do is what's my return? What's the return on investment? What's my profit? Do I need to have an agent of 12 teams to build a nice profit? No. So, I can be small and super efficient and super effective and still help my clients in the same way or better than when we were huge. So.
Yeah, because that was going to be my next question. What's the biggest challenge, of having your own brokerage?
That was the number one challenge was the overhead expense.
Yeah.
Because you got the building, then you've got the internet and the electricity and, so on and, triple net and front of the house, person to greet everybody as they come in the door and, what have you. So, and how many people actually came in the door? Me, my agents didn't even come to the office half the time. So it was me and my assistant that was there. And every once in a while we'd get a straggler or somebody trying to sell us something. That was about it.
Right. For sure. What, you saw, I reached out to you 3 years ago, 4 years ago now, almost
4 years in April. Yeah.
4 years in April to ask you if you'd ever heard of eXp. My wife and I, we made the move over. We'd been at an independent company for 7 years. Just when we left Keller Williams, went basically to 100% company. Again, just tired of paying all the fees, just didn't need to because I had all my own stuff. Saw eXp. I moved to eXp February 2018. and reached out to you soon after that. How has eXp solved some of those challenges that you had being your own broker? Because now you're not your own broker anymore.
I'm still a broker.
An ego thing there, that can be there.
Oh yeah,
losing my brand or losing, they think that, But talk about that transition.
Yeah, I mean, there was a little bit of a mental hurdle to jump over. Like, oh, I'm not the guy anymore. I'm not the broker, but I'm still a broker. So I'm a broker. Once a broker, always a broker, as long as you keep your license active, right? So, I'd say that's the first mental challenge I had to get over. But the second thing was I was able to now start taking those items off my plate or off the balance sheet, the negative side of things. I didn't have to have this 2,000 square foot office that nobody came to. I didn't have to pay E&O insurance anymore. Our E&O insurance was going to go up to $16,000 a year.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah. So it's insanity for 12 or 10 people at that time. So I didn't have those expenses. And, so I really just started putting pen to paper. And before you had come to me, I'd always talked to my wife and, said, somebody's got to figure this out to where you can create a residual income or a retirement within the real estate world. I tried to do it with my agents, hey, I'll give you 2.5% of every commission of anybody that you refer to the company that comes and joins. When they sell, you'll get 2.5% of it out of my side, not yours, right? So I tried to do something like that, but it never worked. There was never, very few ever did anything with that. So when you came with eXp, showed me what it was, we actually sat down and studied it. I didn't just, watch it while I was watching something else or, whatever a ball game was on and I actually studied it because I was at that point where I was like, I need to see what this really means, and if you did it, I know you and, I respect you as a business person. I was like, okay, so Jeff's in there, let me check this out. Mm-hmm. So we really put pen to paper, went through everything, and it just made the most financial sense from being able to eliminate stuff off the balance sheet, but also give us a lot more leverage on the backside with the brokerage. They offer tons of training. The big thing for me is that I saw was they'll actually get me a retirement. Most agents' retirement account ends in a casket. That's, most agents' retirement party is their funeral. And it's bad to say, but I know so many agents locally that are 70 or 80 years old still trying to sell real estate. I don't want to sell real estate when I'm 70 or 80 years old to try to still make it, and I think
it's one thing to do because, man, I just love doing it and I enjoy doing it. And, I sell 5 or 6 homes a year, some friends, but it's nothing to do because you have to. And I've seen, there's many of those realtors that I've seen and worked with and stuff. You're right. 70, 75 years old in the office, printing things out on the,
because they have to,
because they have to. And it's just man, you should be living your life. You should be in Florida right now.
Right. Well, I think the inherent problem in real estate is we want to be successful. And the only way to be successful is reinvest some of the money that you're making back into your business. Well, you just keep doing that and you don't invest it into other places, or you invest it into things like rentals and things like that. But I mean, if you have a mortgage on a rental, they're really not all that profitable, right? Because the renter tears them up or what have you, so you're constantly battling profitability, so, I needed a retirement vehicle and eXp had the stock. And so that was a big draw for me is, hey, they'll take 5% of my commission, put it into a stock at a 10% discount. I'm getting a discount when I'm buying it, so that makes sense. And I'm not going to miss the 5%. I mean, 5% is nothing when you're talking about big numbers.
By the way, let me just say, because that is optional. I just want people.
Oh, it's totally optional, but I don't know why you wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know any agent who's not doing it here. My wife and I, we've done it with every deal we've done, since day one of being here, and so it's awesome. Talk about that. So what's that done for you?
I mean,
that's such a great story with the stock.
I mean, it's fortunately we got in, we did that. There's a lot of other ways to earn stock as well too, but I mean, we've accumulated about 17,000 shares of stock to date. If you go and take it by what the stock price is, it's not a bad little number. I would not have that number. And people I talk to, they're like, oh, I'll just do it on my own. I'll invest my own 5%. No, you won't. because I didn't. Yeah, it's always good in theory, but when things get tight, you don't take that 5% out, right? I take it out. I don't even see it, don't feel it. I just know my check's my check, kind of thing. So, and it's built to this huge nest egg for a retirement. I mean, I honestly have something there that I never would have had if I didn't do this.
Right.
So thank you.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
No, it's awesome. And honestly, it drives me to, when you called me earlier this year, and I'll never forget this because I think it was like back in February or March or something, and our stock had gone way up. It was before that split. We had a stock split, which was awesome. But right before that, and you had cashed out some shares of stock, to pay off your mortgage, I think, right?
We cashed 1,000 shares and paid off everything basically.
Yeah. And I just remember that. It's like, man, this thing is just changing lives. And I think that's why I love what we're doing. You're getting paid more for what you're going to do anyway.
Yeah. My split my first year, and that was, his numbers don't make sense when I say them, but my first year split because of the stock and because of revenue share and, those things that eXp has in addition to just selling homes. Our business has actually improved since coming over too. So my split the first year was 181%. So my split at my own brokerage was 100%. I got 100% of everything, but I actually got 181% when I went to this company. It doesn't make any sense, but
that's how it works.
That's what the numbers work out to. And now it's exponentially higher than that because of the way the stock price took off.
Right. Can you share a couple last things and then we'll wrap it up? Because I know you tell this story sometimes too. Like when you really broke down the numbers for your company, your brokerage, you were carrying the brokerage.
I was carrying it. Yeah, and that's the way with most brokerages or most that are run like a team, and most teams too. If you take the main person out, that thing falls on its face. Like if you take my production out, there's not enough production to pay the bills, pay the people, pay the marketing. That's where you want to get to and then plus it. But most teams, I'm not saying all, because I know multiple people that run a very profitable team and very profitable brokerages that are set up like teams. But most of the times their margin is very, very small. One correction in the market, they're done. Or, they're severely in the red. I remember that with Keller Williams when I was there. We had the correction in the market and I was on the ALC and all that stuff. There was no profit for several months because there were no sales, right? And we still had this big building and all the people and, what have you. So when the market's great, profits are great. But once there's a correction, things tend to slip, So especially in a team model, again, that is heavily reliant on the team leader, myself in this case. If I took myself out, there was no more team. And you go back to Robert Kiyosaki. I love that book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And he has the cash flow quadrant, and he says in that book, if you leave your business, if it's classified as a business and you leave it for 6 months, it should be at or above the same point as when you left. So my business, if I left for 6 months, it's gone.
You're out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think it's like that for a lot of people, for sure. So, and I remember that, reading that book, as well. And I've got it back here. I've got the page highlighted. I got that, because I remember, when I read that, how that hit me. I was at Keller Williams at the time, are you a business owner? Yep. I'm a business owner.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Can you walk away for 6 months or a year, whatever it was, come back and your business has either maintained itself or it even grew without you being there? And I knew without question, there's no way I could leave for a couple of weeks on vacation. I'm still going to be on the phone multiple times while I'm gone, Right. I'll never forget last year in Cabo when we were there.
Yeah.
You were.
I was still putting deals together when I was in Hawaii. I'm not going to lie. It's still part of what I do. But I know there's an end game now. I never knew there was an end game before.
Right. And you're working towards that. I think we're all working towards that. To at least have the option, I could
Right.
still go to Hawaii and do some deals if I want to, but to have the option to really, truly be able to just enjoy my vacation, and I think that's one of the things that I think we have here, at eXp is that down the road, within 3 to 5 years here, I think we're going to have that option. If you're just doing your production and, the stock, and if you want to reach out to some other agents, you can, that kind of stuff, whatever. But a lot of different opportunities over here for sure. Let me ask you real quick, and then we'll go, where do you see the market going right now? I mean, none of us have the crystal ball. Any number of things could happen there, and there's so much out of our control. But what do you see for 2022?
Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but I think as long as interest rates stay where they are, we're going to see this similar market. Once interest rates kick above 4%, I think then you're going to start to see a little wobble in the market. I don't think we'll ever have a crash like we did in 2008, because that was bad business, bad paper, all that stuff that banks were doing. Real estate agents were doing.
Yeah.
I was part of it. I took a ninja loan, no income, no job, no asset verification. Bought a house, 100% financing, crazy. But that existed back then. It doesn't now. We're starting to see some of those tricked up products again, but nothing to the point that it was back in 05, 06 leading up to that. So if we have some wobble to the market, I think it's going to stabilize a little bit. The one thing that does provide a little bit of fear is, what are they going to do with all of these homes that were in forbearance? Are the banks going to allow you to tack that stuff on the end, or are they going to ask you for that money right away? Mm-hmm. And that's up, to the government and the banks. And if they ask for it right away, you're going to see a rush of homes to the market. I don't see a ton of homes foreclosing necessarily, because they probably all still have equity. If you bought your home more than 5 years ago, at least in DFW, you got significant equity. So don't let your home get foreclosed on. Just rush it to the market, sell it, cash in on some of that equity. Yeah, you're going to take a hit because you got to pay those back payments and things. But if that happens and we see that flood, of course, supply and demand. And the more supply there is, demand will come down a little bit, and we won't see the multiple offer stuff as much. And we're actually seeing that wane a little bit. A premier house priced correctly, we're still seeing 20 offers on a house. Yeah. But if the home needs a little bit of work and it's priced, at the top of the market, that thing's still going to sit there, Yeah. So we're starting to see expireds creep to the market again, where we didn't for the last year and a half. So.
Yeah, for sure. Be interesting to see where it goes. I think it might be a little bit, at least here in the Springs, Colorado Springs, a little seasonal. To some degree, I think January is going to kick right back in. I really do. February on into spring and summer.
I think the market's going to stay strong as long as pricing or interest rates stay low. It's allowing people to buy homes at great. I mean, it's free money practically at 3%. My first mortgage wasn't that long ago, and 2000. I paid 8.5%, and I thought I got a deal. So it's a totally different market.
Exactly. One last question for you, real quick. What would you say to any broker owner that is watching this and they haven't looked at eXp, they don't want to look at eXp, stop calling me about eXp. What would you say to that person that's never seen it? And I'm not going to say it's going to be for everybody, there's whatever, but what would you say to that person, like the agent, but especially like the broker owner, they just don't look,
Find broker owners that have done it and see where they are now compared to where they were when they did it. And don't just sweep it away. A lot of people, I think, have been approached by agents or whoever about eXp in the wrong way, and they got burnt out about it, and they never really studied it. I think that's the difference. Some people are like, oh yeah, I've seen it. Really? And then you ask them a couple of questions about it, and they're like, what are you talking about? They did. Yeah, they may have saw it while they were watching the ball game or what have you, but they didn't really study it. Sit down, break down the numbers. And I think that's the biggest thing, is you've got to break down the numbers compared to what it can look like in your current business. And what if your business does X or Y? What does that mean for you in the future if you were to make the move? And if the numbers make sense, the numbers make sense. And if they don't, they don't. It's just one of those things. But I honestly believe there's too many people that are passing up opportunity because they were presented the wrong way, or they were shown or told about it the wrong way. You got to make the emotional decision for yourself and your family. But I think it's more than that. It's a financial decision.
Yeah, for sure. I think there's a lot of that out there. Mistakes have been made. Whatever. Early on, I think a lot of people we've all gotten so much better, and just and the company's gotten better. It's just going to keep getting better, and growing and stuff. I think you don't know what you don't know.
Well, yes.
Just look and just dive into it, but study it like you did.
Right.
I was on the phone the other day with somebody. Hey, have you ever seen the eXp? Oh yeah, no, I saw it. When did you see it? That was a couple years ago. Really? And I just asked. I said, well, can I ask you? I said, when you ran the numbers on it, or when they ran the numbers with you on it, how much over 100% would you have been if you'd have been here? And there's just
what are you talking about?
What? That's impossible. No, they didn't run the numbers with you. You didn't dig into it like that. Well, no, but that's impossible. Well, okay. And again, so we're meeting, tomorrow to just dive into it and look at this again and really crunch the numbers, because that's what happens when you run the numbers. If you're producing at all, I mean, it's not gonna be for everybody, but if you're doing any kind of just production, I mean, even, 7, 8, 9 deals a year and beyond, it's like, I'm telling you, when you run the numbers, it's like, there's a good chance you're going to get over 100% here. There's multiple ways to do that. And people don't understand that. They think it's impossible. But
it's 100% possible if you're a producer. I mean, the numbers just make sense.
For sure.
If you're selling 1 or 2 homes, can you be taken by somebody coaching you and training you to 5, 10, 15 and your numbers increase? Absolutely. Mm-hmm. And a lot of people have the issue of, oh, well, you don't have any physical office space, but I do these all the time, every day. I'm face to face with my people more than people that work in an office.
Yeah.
And a lot of times that face to face in an office isn't getting business done. When I'm doing these face to face, we're getting business done. Right.
Yeah. For sure. And I think, one of the biggest things I see some of the broker owners that have joined us and that I talk to is just like, I just sleep better at night. I'm not liable anymore.
Yeah.
And so that's one just beautiful thing about this as well. So somebody screws up, you're not going to mediation. That's all going up.
That's correct.
eXp. Anyway, well, good deal, man. Well, any last things you want to share before we're done? We've been on here long enough, I think, but I appreciate your time.
No, the biggest thing is, just thank you for, bringing this to me and, helping change our future life for sure. So
for sure.
It's been a huge, like you said, weight off, not having to worry about all the things with being the broker, and then just worrying about the thing I'm good at, selling homes, and talking to buyers and sellers and agents, so do the things you're good at, forget about all that other stuff. Cause that basically is hurdles you're constantly having to jump over, that I no longer have to worry about. And now I can focus on the things I'm good at. Plus I'm building for retirement. Not that I'll ever stop selling homes, I may sell, but I may only sell 5 or 6 homes a year versus, 60, 80, 100, but I will have that choice. Most people don't,
Yeah, for sure. The future looks good.
Yeah, it does. Very
bright. I'm more excited now about being here than I was 4 years ago when I made the move over.
6,500 agents when I joined. Now we're just about to 70,000. In less than 4 years. Pretty crazy.
Yeah. And they're saying 500,000 in the next 5 years. I mean, and I really think that there's no question that we could hit that. I don't know. It sounds very ambitious, but it's definitely we're on track.
Every number they put out there, they've hit. So
yeah, it's crazy. Plus, we have Cabo to look forward to again. So
that's right.
March margaritas by the pool.
There we go.
Heck yeah.
No deals.
Stay off your phone while we're down there.
That's right.
I heard that last time. I got some pictures. I have pictures of you. Very angry.
Very angry.
Couple deals that were not going the way you wanted them to.
No.
Throwing your vacation. Anyway, well, it's good to see you, man. So have a great, if I don't talk to you, I'll be talking to you, I'm sure, but have a great Christmas, and definitely, congratulations on all the stuff you've done. Seriously.
Thanks, man. Have a good one.
And it's great having you here. So, guys, Aaron Kinn, you can reach out to him through Facebook, social media as well. I'll tag you on this when we get it up there. But, guys, thanks for jumping in, and have a great rest of your day. We'll talk to you soon. See you, Aaron.